today we're going to work on completing our superheroes with watercolor paint. Before you begin, there's a couple different techniques that you should be aware of as you're painting. The first is when you use wet paint on dry paper. That means that you're getting your brush nice and wet, lots of water on it. You're dipping it in your paint and you're getting it filled with a lot of watery paint, and then you're painting on your paper. The edges will stay crisp and the color will stay in one spot and not move around too much. The next technique is when you use wet paint on wet paper. That means before you put any paint down, you're going to dip your brush in water and you're going to put water on your paper first. Then you're going to put the paint on top of that already wet paper. Your paint is going to kind of fuzz out and the edges are not going to be very crisp. If you put more than one color down, the two colors will kind of mix together and they'll make a new color. Next we have some basics. To make a thin line, get a lot of watery paint on your brush and barely touch your brush to the paper. To make a thick line, simply press harder. If you want to spread that color around, all you have to do is fill your brush with water and paint against the line. The paint will fan into the water, so I'm painting with water, not with more paint right now. Now, if you make a mistake or you put color down where you didn't actually mean there to be color, you can sort of get rid of it by blotting it with a moist paper towel. This is not going to completely get rid of the color, but it will lift it enough that you can paint over it with a different color. So finally, if you want to keep your colors crisp and separate, you want to wait until the first paint dries and then paint next to it. So you're basically painting on dry paper. Alright, so let's see these techniques in action. So here's my superhero. I'm first going to create a damp background. So I'm just using water and I'm making the paper wet. Then I'm dotting my colors down so that they spread really easily. And I'm using a lot of different colors, but I'm using all warm colors. So reds and yellows and browns so that they all go together. Then I'm going to start putting down my first layer on my superhero. Now this is not the color I'm going to have eventually, but I want to let different pieces dry so I can go back and I can keep my colors crisp. So this is just my first layer. I know that I wanted my dress to kind of mix together, so I'm adding some black into that blue before it dries so it mixes. I'm starting to go back in and I'm adding color only after the first color that I put down is dry. I'm adding extra coats on top to change the way that the color looks.